Welcome to ACP, the Amazon Connect podcast. This is the show that focuses on Amazon Connect and related technologies. I'm your host, Tom Morgan, and I'm joined as usual by my co-host, AWS Solution Architect and Contact Center Consultant, Alex Baker. Find out more about Cloud Interact by visiting us at cloudinteract.io. It's time for another ACP, and it's a special one this time because this is reInvent week, and so we have a whole deluge of things to talk about. There's lots and lots to get through on this episode. Luckily, I've got Alex with me to help. Hello, Alex.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Yep, very good, thank you. Just kind of trying to pick our way through all the new stuff. So let's set the scene. reInvent was 2 days ago as we record this, and a whole bunch of announcements, obviously, across all of AWS. It's AWS's big event for announcing new things. And I think it's fair to say Amazon Connect got a fairly big chunk this time around of new stuff and new announcements, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you say, quite the deluge of new stuff, wasn't it?
It really was. It's an interesting dynamic. Like sometimes you get busy years and quiet years, and I think this definitely felt like a busy year. And I think it sort of makes sense a bit where if you look at what some of the announcements are, and we're going to dig into them, there are definitely some themes and some key areas we've tried to watch through as much as possible, and we may miss some stuff, but I think we've picked up what we think are kind of the important things. Pasquale Di Maio is the Vice President of Amazon Connect, and in his session, he actually said there were 29 new features for Amazon Connect, which is kind of a lot. And he split them across 4 key areas: action with AI, elevating your workforce, transforming data into relationships, and accelerating outcomes. And so those are kind of like the broad things. And he described this set of releases and this set of features as Amazon Connect kind of bravely moving into the agentic world. He said actually what was interesting. He said you could now, if you wanted to, you could run Amazon Connect with no human agents, completely autonomously. He said you won't want to do that. That's not a good idea, but you can do it in the same way that you can still do it 100%, completely human, no agentic at all. I think the right spot is somewhere in between those two things, but there's a whole bunch of features now to kind of help you do that. And so we'll go through them. Where should we start, Alex? Is there a sensible kind of starting place? I've got a couple of thoughts around like the agentic stuff we could sort of start and go through, but
yeah, I think, it's probably just going to be sort of throwing a dart and seeing where we hit, isn't it? It's interesting though, Pasquale's comment there about being able to run Connect completely agentless, isn't it? It's sort of bringing a bit more substance to the thing that lots of people are saying about how contact centers and customer experience in general are quite ripe for removing live agents.
So more agentic stuff in Connect. So there's been a bunch of things, features and functionality to kind of help with some of that. Should we just go down the list and call them out, Alex? Like, is there an order?
Let's go for it. Yeah. Are you looking at a list and I'm also looking at a list?
I think we might, let's have different lists. We've got slightly different lists, but let's compare and contrast. Like, do you want to do a top 3 from your list? And then I'll see if I've got anything to add.
Yeah. Well, let's do top 3 sort of in order of reading anyway. So, and okay. I'll call out the list I'm looking at is from Anka Tonk from AWS, who has a good LinkedIn Amazon Connect What's New page, and he's just put in a single post what looks like all of the launches from reInvent and then links to the documentation. So that's quite a good place to have it centralized. That was one thing we were saying earlier, is that there's so much information, so many posts from different sources, different people, different sites. It's quite difficult to keep a track. So this was quite a good centralized version. The first one on that list is Amazon Connect now provides native testing and simulation capabilities, which is quite a cool concept. I recall sort of back in my days of working on Cisco, Cisco had quite a nice call simulator where you could just press a button to place a virtual call, and you'd then see it sort of run through all of your contact flow, your call flows, and use it for troubleshooting, see what route it takes when you enter certain values in IVRs, that kind of thing. So I'm guessing this is probably going to be a nicely up-to-date version of something like that. But let's see if I can find some more.
Yeah, that makes sense. And super useful nowadays as well with, as we're going to talk about, some of the agentic stuff where it's not just like the IVRs and the call flows you're testing, you're potentially testing an entire call flow, like an entire end-to-end call process of, invoking the right agent, getting the right answer, the wrap up, everything that happens after it. So yeah, super useful. Very timely.
Yeah, definitely. Here we go. So I found some notes. So this is in preview. So one thing I will say, I have had a look through the console for some of these new releases, and quite a lot of them I'm not seeing yet. And I guess that's probably a mixture of some of them are in preview, like this one seems to be, and then some of them are probably in the process of being rolled out as we speak, because they are. I acknowledge they're quite fresh announcements. But yes, so as a result, I haven't sort of had a play with any of these. So the notes we have on it, Amazon Connect now allows you to test and simulate contact center experiences in just a few clicks, making it easy to validate workflows, self-service voice interactions on your point there, and their outcomes. So for each test, you can configure test parameters, including a caller's phone number or customer profile, the reason for the call, the expected responses, and business conditions like any after-hours scenarios or full call queues. After executing the tests, the results show success or failure based on your defined criteria, along with the path taken by the simulated interaction. Plus, you get detailed logs to diagnose any issues. So from that, it definitely sounds pretty comprehensive, doesn't it? It's probably a bit more than what I mentioned with that the sort of call tester. It sounds like you can do the self-service interactions as well, which you'd expect, going down the route of more AI-powered interactions. But yeah, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it really does. It's very good. It comes at a good time. I was kind of wondering whether we should build something like this ourselves as like a, either just for the company or as like a community thing. But I'm kind of glad that AWS have done it for us, because it was getting to the point where it's like we really need something like this to kind of test the end to end. So yeah, brilliant.
Okay, what have we got up next? So we've got Amazon Connect launches automated email responses using conditional keywords and phrases. Let's see if we can find some more on that one. This one doesn't specify preview at the start, so I don't know if that means that it will just kind of drop in and become available. The notes on this say, Amazon Connect now allows you to automate email responses and agent routing logic using keyword and phrase conditions, helping organizations increase self-service, reduce manual handling time, and improve routing accuracy. Okay. For example, if a customer sends an email asking if a certain product is in stock or is checking on their shipment status, an automated response can be sent without involving an agent.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That sort of interestingly rounds out the email part of Amazon Connect and actually extends it out from being a more traditional, what you might think of as a contact center, into make much more omni-channel, building some of those capabilities. It's an interesting move, expansion move, I suppose, adding those features.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to dig into that, because I know already you had the ability to send sort of templated emails as an auto response. So I guess this is perhaps going more into that, reading the body of the incoming email and categorizing it and responding it based on the body, which, yeah, we've built some stuff like that, built it from scratch, custom development, but it's nice to see that it's coming into the product natively now.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazon Connect Chat now supports agent-initiated workflows is the next one.
Okay, so that's interesting. It's like a proactive outbound or proactive kind of chat.
Yeah, so this apparently enables agents to send interactive forms to collect sensitive data or share policies and disclosures within customer chat conversations. So, for example, a customer needs to update their address. Agents can now send a form that customers complete without leaving the chat interface. That's quite nice.
Nice. Yeah, some of the stuff that was being talked about in some of the sessions is about trying to reduce the amount of context switching that agents have to do on calls. So anything that can stop them having to go into another system, come back again, and try and keep them in that kind of single pane of glass is good and better for the agent experience. So that's good.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like a nice add-on to the step-by-step guides type functionality, where you're sort of guiding agents through a particular process flow, but yeah, more involving the customer, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of my own, give you a break.
Yeah, go.
And so mine are focused a little bit more around, I suppose, developer things, but that's natural, I guess. But Connect launches a model context protocol support, MCP support, which is kind of really interesting for agents. And we'll talk about some of that agent stuff. So out of the box, there's going to be tools for common tasks. So things like updating contact attributes and retrieving case information. So they're going to sort of provide their own MCP stuff as well. And then you'll also be able to provide your own MCP servers. And so Amazon Connect will then be able to see them. And that will enable their AI agents to do that kind of customer self-service, but also the employee assistance side of things as well, to help provide more information and help complete actions. So this is kind of really moving from just providing information to actually doing things as well. And I think that's really, really interesting.
Yeah, that's really exciting, isn't it? For, I guess, both sort of agent backed and also self-service, maybe where you have more complex workflows that, like you say, you can, rather than just providing a bit of information, you can have it go off and perform different actions. An example on the notes here, an AI agent can automatically look up order status, process refunds, and update customer records during a self-service interaction without requiring human intervention. That really kind of takes self-service to that next level, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, so that's going to be out of the box for doing some common things within Connect, but also you'll be able to provide your own tooling as well, which you'll do kind of through either flow modules you write there, or you can also integrate it with Agent Core, so Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. I don't think we're going to have time to cover them here. There's a bunch of new announcements for Agent Core as well. So if that sounds interesting, this is probably not the podcast to cover them, but go check them out because there's a whole bunch of AI related announcements. And in these announcements and in some of the stuff that's coming out about doing this starts to make sense now in where stuff should happen. So we know Agent Core is AWS's method or their way to make agents. And that's a nice sort of developer experience for not just writing and making the agents, but testing them, evaluating them, and doing all those sorts of things. And so it's good to see that there's a hook now into Connect. So these two tools can talk to each other. So you haven't got to try and sort of choose between two or have a lesser experience for your agent building and build lesser agents because you can't use Agent Core. The two are kind of coming together, which is really good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. The other thing, just to pick out of the notes on that one, I did see, so this includes some updates to how flow modules are used. And yeah, you touched on it, but using flow modules as MCP tools, so kind of bringing a bit more power to your contact flow modules by the sound of it.
Okay,
interested
cool.
to see how that materializes.
Yeah, and sort of related, but kind of related, real-time chat message streaming, which I think is going to be a big one for making the conversations that people have with agents just feel a little bit more natural. And so this is real-time streaming for AI-powered chat interactions, essentially. And that's good. Like it makes that sort of more natural sort of thing and gives some confidence, I think, that somebody's actually doing something. So it's a bit like you see the sort of typing thing, you know, when you're in your messaging platform, and then you can sort of see the responses appear. In the notes, they say they're going to appear progressively. So we'll see what that looks like. I don't know if you've seen this. I'm not quite sure how this is going to show up, whether it's something that is something that developers need to lean into and enable or work differently in some way, or whether it's just going to happen. I think probably need to wait for the detail on that.
Yeah. So you're thinking this is, I guess, when you interact with something like a chat GPT, you kind of, you have that wait while it thinks about it and processes its response. Whereas this it's sort of streaming the response, so you're not sat there waiting for as long. Is that what you think this is about?
Yeah, exactly that, I think. And what I'm not sure about is whether developers will be able to do the same thing. So, for instance, whether, well, I don't know, you'll be able to, as you receive data from some stream, whether you'll be able to kind of pipe it essentially in real time, and then it will kind of appear and essentially replace. I see it similar slightly to if you've ever done something to get the transcription out of EventBridge, something like that. You get partial sentences until the whole sentence is there. I see it a little bit like that, where you can sort of send and then replace, you know, as things improve or as you get more information. And so you're kind of throwing the data to the customer as quickly as you get it, basically. So yeah, I'm hoping that's how that works.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of these as we read through them are really sort of gearing up towards that next generation of self-service, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, we should also talk about the big noisy elephant in the room, which is Novasonic. So that's in here as an announcement, but it's kind of one that I know lots of people have been talking about and are interested in. So like top level, Novasonic it's an LLM, but it's for voice essentially, and it provides that nice, just like we were talking about actually with chat message streaming. Nova Voice does voice message streaming, so it feels much more natural. And so that is now coming to Connect, right? Do we know much of the details about that yet, or is it still kind of in preview, or do we know it's not got a preview tag on it? I don't think.
No, it's not. It's not. And I saw it. I think it was mentioned that it was available in the two main US regions, East and West. But no, nothing about it being in preview as far as I've seen. Again, I haven't seen anything that says Novasonic suddenly pop into the console. So maybe it's coming in the next week or so. A couple of things in the notes for it. Amazon Connect introducing agentic self-service capabilities that enable AI agents to understand, reason, and take action across voice and messaging channels to automate routine and complex customer service tasks. Skipping down a bit, with integration from advanced speech models from Amazon Novasonic, voice self-service experiences now deliver more natural and adaptive interactions. And a couple of things on that, because we at Cloud Interact have been sort of playing with Novasonic a bit. One of our colleagues, Bentley, has done a couple of really good demos and showing some of the key benefits to Novasonic. So how, because you mentioned it's sort of voice to voice. It doesn't have to transcribe somebody's voice, process it as text, and then come back and regenerate the voice. So in theory, you're kind of cutting out a bit of latency there, hopefully. Also, in Bentley's demo, which is well worth a look, I think it's on our YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the comments, but it's really good at sort of matching the customer's pace and tone more than something like Lex ever was. And it's really good as well at elegantly handling interruptions and barge-ins from the customer.
I think we're going to try and insert a bit of Bentley's clip now, and then we'll, hopefully if it all works, that's what you should hear about now.
Hi there. Welcome to Cloud Interact Insurance. How can I assist you today? Whether you need help with your policy, have questions about coverage, or need to file a claim, I'm here to help.
Yeah, could you just get my policy details for me, please?
Of course. To get your policy details, I'll need your full name and your policy number. Can you please provide those for me?
Yep, my policy number is POL 654321, and my name is John Smith.
Thank you, John. Here are the details for your policy number, POL 654321. Your policy type is homeowners, and it started on November 15, 2021, and will end on November 15, 2024. If you need any specific information or have further questions, feel free to ask.
Could you give me some information about the type of cover that I've got, please?
Sure thing, John. Your policy includes the following base coverage: dwelling coverage up to the value of your property, personal belongings up to $100,000, liability coverage up to $300,000, and loss of use benefits. Additionally, your policy has two enhancements: storm cover, which adds coverage for storm-related events, and temporary relocation cover, which extends standard temporary housing by covering additional expenses for hotel stays or short-term rentals, and provides a daily living allowance during longer displacements. If you have any questions about these details or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
Could you tell me what email you've got on record for me, please?
Of course, John. The email address we have on record for you is john.smith@example.com. If you need any updates or have further questions, feel free to let me know.
And just one more thing. Could you tell me when my last claim was?
Certainly, John. Your last claim was for an amount of $12,000, and it was filed on April 25th, 2025. The status of this claim is currently open. If you need any updates or have further questions about your claim, feel free to ask.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome, John. If you ever need assistance again, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day.
So, as you can hear, that's going to make a big difference. I think that's going to be game-changing for some of this other stuff that's coming in as well. And it's all coming in at the same time, which is why it feels like so many announcements. Well, it is so many announcements, but also why it feels so exciting, I think, because you're having this new way of customers being able to interact with the agents, but you're also getting a whole bunch more capabilities about what those agents can do when it comes to the MCP server lookup, and then increase integration into Connect. So the two things together, I think, are going to make a real big difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was super excited about that, and people have been talking about Novasonic and the integration with Connect for quite a while now. So yeah, really excited to see how it's set up in the console and everything.
Can't wait to get started with that. And there's also some more AI stuff when it comes to agent summarization as well, I think.
Certainly got one around AI powered case summaries, which was new. I think that was one that was sort of it popped out maybe the night before reInvent, because I think there were a bunch that came out then.
The one I was thinking of is actually better integration with Agentforce service from Salesforce.
Okay,
so that's like a real-time agent assistance and contact summarization. So if you use Salesforce, go check that out, because that sounds like it's going to really help get recommendations, enhanced monitoring for supervisors, and then automatic post-contact summarization to help agents update Salesforce cases. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, that does sound good. We've definitely got a couple of customers that use Salesforce that will be pleased about that. The one that I was talking about, AI-powered summaries for cases. So where for a while now, well, obviously we've had the Gen AI summaries for voice calls and for chats. We now have it for cases as well. So quick scan over the notes, reduce manual wrap-up work, provide complete context into customer issues, help resolve cases faster. So agents can generate a concise case summary even when the case spans multiple interactions, which is quite nice, where you've got that ongoing case where somebody's called in, emailed, maybe come in via a chat as well. Being able to summarize the whole set of interactions is really powerful.
That's cool. Yeah. A few kind of similar or related announcements just around analytics and reporting. I think there's some stuff on self-serve conversational analytics I saw as well, but also more for automated performance evaluations, which I know we've spoken about before.
Yeah, I guess both of those things, it's sort of back to that we were talking about. If you're bringing in more and more automation in place of live agents, obviously you want the same level of visibility into what those AI agents are doing as you have on your live agents. So yeah, it makes total sense that you'd want to run the performance evaluations on your AI agents and be able to report in depth on what's going on in those interactions.
Yeah, that's I think that helps with, to your point as well, helps with the trust and helps people adopt these tools if they can have confidence that they're working well. One of the other things that is in preview is AI-powered predictive insights, which I think is interesting. So this is built on top of profiles, which I know you just talked about a little bit. I think is subtly different, possibly. So yes, I think, did you mention case summaries?
So yeah, you're right. It's its own separate point and announcement. So yeah, definitely worth touching on this one.
Yeah, so this is quite clever. So it builds on profiles and comes with 5 recommendation algorithms to analyze customer behavior and interaction history, and therefore provide information to agents, or potentially, I suppose, something that you could maybe use in a more automated way. So the 5 recommendation algorithms are recommended for you. So obviously based on their history, based on who they are, similar items, frequently paired items, popular items, and trending. So that's really cool. I think that's really interesting to see how that works and see some of the information, some of the data and that comes out of that. Stuff like that's really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like those two kind of work quite well in conjunction, maybe. So yeah, the sort of looking back over a whole case and all of its interactions, and then providing predictive insights based on all that, and maybe a load of other data about what might be a good thing to suggest next, upsell opportunities, maybe that kind of thing.
Yes, and actually it reminded me of something that Pasquale said in his session as well, just because they got on to talking about big places that use Amazon Connect, and they've got lots of big partners, obviously, but they also use it internally. So Amazon Customer Service uses 100,000 customer service agents, but for their Audible contact center and that area, they match up agents, they route to agents based on the shared reading history of the users. So you're more likely to go to an agent that reads similar books as you, which I thought was really cool. Apparently it means that the interactions between agent and customer is just better. Like which kind of makes sense when you say it, but it's really interesting to see them do that, use data in that way.
Definitely. Yeah, that does sound really cool, doesn't it?
Yes. Right. What have we missed out? What's important that we didn't cover?
I was going to mention, and I suppose maybe because this was a slight bugbear of mine working with knowledge bases in Amazon Q and Connect, but there's another point around Amazon Connect now supporting multiple knowledge bases and integrating with your Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases. It seemed when we've been working with it in the past that you could kind of set up a single knowledge base, which Q and Connect and some of you, maybe your Q and Connect in Lex intents could all integrate with, but it didn't sort of have a degree of separation very easily. So when we've been doing customer demos, for example, if we were doing a demo to a public sector organization, the data was all sort of in the same knowledge base as then if we did a demo for a healthcare organization, it's all sort of in there, and it didn't seem like it was that easily segmented. So I'm hoping this is going to make that process a bit easier, where you can have one of your lines of business having its own specific knowledge base, and it's a bit more kind of kept aside from your other lines of business or parts of the organization.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm just looking through the notes as well. It's like that's definitely a useful use case. I think the other one as well they mentioned is being able to search in parallel. If you do have data in a few different places, doing that search in parallel to get back information from across different places and aggregate it as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, agreed. And it might help as well, thinking about sort of guardrails. So if you have a particular bot, being able to make sure it sources all of its information from a particular knowledge base or area of a knowledge base, so that you're not getting hallucination or it's not providing information that it shouldn't be based on the context of what it's doing.
Yep. We are going to try and keep roughly to time. So let's see if there's anything else that we should have talked about, any big things. We definitely haven't covered all of them. Like I say, 27 new features, and like we've definitely spent more than a minute talking about each one. So we haven't covered them all. I'm just looking down to see if there's any really big ones. I've just seen one, which is support for third-party speech-to-text and text-to-speech AI models.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, good one. Yeah.
There's some really good models out there, and not, the built-in ones are good and getting better as well. And it would be really interesting to see how they work with Novasonic as well and how that works. But yes, you'll now be able to integrate DeepGram for speech to text and 11 Labs for text to speech. It's a bit unclear from reading the fairly short announcement blog post about it, whether it's any third-party speech providers or whether it's just DeepGram and 11 Labs. But yes, it's good anyway to see that being opened up, if you like, as an alternative for people.
That makes you wonder if there are more to come. And I guess for those people that might have invested already in other sort of AI speech providers outside of Connect and who are maybe moving to Connect, that might be a sweetener in that they don't have to kind of totally tear out what they already did on DeepGram or 11 Labs. They can now move to Connect and continue to use what they've invested in there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
The other one I was going to touch on is Amazon Connect enhances its agent assistance capabilities. So it would be nice to see what that looks like. It provides customer service representatives with new AI agents that guide them through customer interactions by recommending actions, retrieving information, executing tasks on their behalf. So yeah, kind of touched on it perhaps around the conversation we had on the MCP servers. But it sounds like it's sort of supercharging Q and Connect, where you had it would in real time, it would surface knowledge base articles. It sounds like this takes it a bit to the next level, and you're doing stuff like that sort of full process automation or assistance.
Got it. Yeah, which is an important part of the story, actually. When we say agentic, we tend to think about self-service, but actually an equally important part of that is assisting human agents, a very important part of the process. And if you can increase productivity there, but also just make it a better experience for agents as well, it's better for everyone. So,
yeah, definitely. I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody was talking about aiming to sort of make your existing agents superhuman by providing them with so much of this really useful AI assistance in the background.
Yeah, definitely. It really feels, thinking about all of these features that are coming or have arrived and are rolling out now, it really feels like quite a big step for Connect right now. I think it was important. I think an important step as well. I think they needed to, like, the world is talking about agentic behavior, and particularly around the self-service side of things, you're sort of starting to see solutions that would solve some of that problem and then only transfer to Connect if you needed to talk to a person. And so I think it was an important move for them, I think, to get in front of that and provide these tools. But equally, it means that they can offer that capability for agents as well, which is really strong, I think. And makes it a really compelling sort of platform change, I think. And it feels like a big enhancement all around.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes that, the announcement about unlimited AI pricing, which we covered ages back in, it makes it sound like there's a lot of sense in it, right? So there's so much more of the AI tooling coming into it. You can see why that was rolled out the way it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's making more and more sense, and it just doesn't. It feels like something that is so deeply ingrained that having something like that that's unlimited could really make sense. Yeah, you have to wonder if that was the long game when it first came out.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. What a foray, what a romp through the feature list that was. Thank you ever so much for helping me understand it. There's loads and loads of other things we didn't talk about. There's a whole bunch of AI stuff. So if that's interesting to you, go check out the keynote, because there's lots and lots in that. There's AI coming to other places as well, not just Amazon Connect. Some really interesting stuff around Quick Suite as well, which I've been digging into. But for now, I think it's time to bring this episode to an end. Thank you very much, Alex. And thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast player. That way you won't miss the next episode. Whilst you're there, we would love it if you would rate and review us. If you have colleagues you think would benefit from this content, then please let them know. To find out more about how Cloud Interact can help you on your contact center journey, visit cloudinteract.io. We're wrapping this call up now, and we'll connect with you next time.